welcome back to the vlog. And yes, this is what I have been alluding to. This is what I have been planning. The secret is out. I fled the country. So friends, as you can see, we got a lot to get into today. So grab a snack, grab a drink, sit back and get comfortable because I'm bringing you guys along with me to Panama. So technically, this was my first time out of the country. I've been on a few cruises before. I want to say like 3 cruises. And we've gone to, like the Bahamas, but I didn't get off the boat. And so, I mean, technically I was still, in Bahamian waters, and so I left the country, but I've never really stepped foot in another country, and I've never needed a passport because I was a minor when I went on those, cruises, and so you just had to bring your birth certificate. And so this was all new. It was just crazy to me, and this was just the best trip ever. I mean, my mom, she and I are so close, and of course we got closer over the summer, and so this was just the most wonderful surprise. Oh yeah, she surprised me with this trip. Technically she didn't. She told me. She asked me did I want to go, but she sent me like 2 text messages back to back, and I didn't read the second one, and so I was responding yes to the first one, and then the second one is where she asked me did I want to go on this trip, and I didn't even read it. And so when I got to Oklahoma, she was like, yeah, I'm so excited about Panama, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, what do you mean, what am I talking about? And so she had already bought my ticket by then, so there was no going back. So yeah, it felt like a surprise. But we get off the plane and I immediately grab us some food because I have a friend who said that he has been to Panama and he said that they have excellent food. So I was really excited. But like I said before, I'm really not a picky eater. So I had nothing but high expectations because it's just like, they can't go wrong. I mean, I am the right person to be going on a trip like this. And after we got food, we went to our first Airbnb. So the first place that we went, they only had availability for that first night that we were there, and they had someone else coming in the rest of the days. And so we were there for a week. And so we stayed at this first place, and it was really nice. And I really enjoyed the fact that she was staying there with us because we don't speak really any Spanish. I mean, my mom speaks a little bit, but I speak muy poquito español. Okay. And so she was kind of helping us a little bit. She didn't speak a whole lot of English, but she was kind of telling us about like the area and telling us kind of fun things to do. And so I appreciated her being there on our first night and kind of like helping us get acclimated. And so we were there, and then apparently in America, you have to go to the store to, go get fruits and vegetables. But in Panama, there's just a guy on a truck driving through your neighborhood, like the ice cream man, talking about, hey, I want to sell you some fruits and vegetables. And it's like, man, this is awesome.
Interesting.
And so the next morning we went and we got breakfast. It was at like this kind of buffet style place, and like I said, I don't really speak any Spanish, and so I'm looking at the food, I'm looking at the menu, it's all looking kind of crazy to me, but what I got was pretty good. I'm very American, okay? I'm used to what I understand as breakfast: oatmeal, eggs, bacon, sausage, biscuits, grits. That's breakfast, like having, I think it was like they had like chicken breasts and chicken thighs and like braised beef and stuff like that, braised pork, out on the breakfast buffet. It's like, what are you doing here? You're not supposed to be here until like 11 o'clock. But so we had that, and that was delicious, and everything just felt very tropical. Like all the decorations, and being that Panama is in Central America, I feel like, and I was telling my mom this, that, everything down there is so much more colorful, it seems. Like, they haven't had, the sad beige epidemic hit them yet. And so they still have a lot of really colorful, bright buildings and advertisement and, decor and architecture. And so I love the sad beige aesthetic because it's peaceful and it's quiet and it's clean. But I can definitely appreciate a nice, bold color here and there. And so that was really fun to see the juxtaposition. And then after breakfast, we had our driver take us to a mall. We thought we were going to a mall called Metro Mall, but that was by where we were staying, and she had already taken us into town. And so when we asked her to go to the mall, she took us to this mall called Albrook Mall. And we were like, oh, okay, because we had looked up Metro Mall and it looked nice. And so when she took us to Albrook Mall, we were a little disappointed, But then we realized that the Allbrook Mall is like the biggest mall in Central America, or in like Latin America or something like that. It's like one of the biggest malls in the world or something. And so we walked around for a while, not too long. And then so my mom, she wanted to get a suitcase, which I told her, I was like, Mom, you don't need a suitcase. We just got here. But so she wanted something that would roll. And so the lady, she kept taking us to different suitcase places. And then she let us kind of just like roam on our own for a little bit. But yeah, so we didn't do like a ton of gallivanting in the mall. Like we had no idea just how big this mall was. And so when we told people later on that, oh, we went to the Allbrook Mall, they were like, oh man, you could be in there all day. I think they said they have 5 food courts. So it's like not 5 restaurants in the food court, 5 courts of food. It's like, what are you talking about? That's insane. And so I definitely wish that I would have known. And that's another thing too, is like, because this trip kind of caught me off guard, is like, I didn't really think to like do a lot of research as to what we would be seeing. I mean, of course, you got the Panama Canal. It's like everybody knows about the Panama Canal, which I didn't know a ton about. I just knew that it existed. But after going there and touring it, which you'll see later, it made me realize, oh wow, that's actually really, really significant. So that was interesting. But yeah, I didn't realize that I would be in the place that has one of the biggest malls in the world. So whoops, my bad. And then after she brought us back from the mall, we went to our second Airbnb, and that's where we were staying for the rest of the trip. And that place was really nice, but it was just us. So it was like an apartment, and so we had like a whole, living space to ourselves. And that was nice, of course, because you don't have to share it with someone. But the internet wasn't nearly as good, and it was like you had to walk up a few flights of steps, and so there were pros and cons to both places, but overall, I mean, it was nice. So yeah, there was that. Like, my mom, she really liked the idea of going more kind of undercover, like living amongst the locals, kind of like, when in Rome, do as the Romans do kind of aspect, approach to the travel. Because people like me are like, okay, I'm gonna stay on the resort, I'm gonna stay near the airport, I'm gonna, do all the touristy stuff. And, and I'll say, oh, I've been to this other place. And then it's like, all you've ever done is to like talk to people who speak English, and you've gone to, just the different countries' version of American restaurants and American places. And so it's like, did you really go to that different place? Like, if you go to Japan and all you do is eat at the Japanese Starbucks and the Japanese McDonald's and, stay at the Hilton Inn and talk to English people, did you really go to Japan? Like, you know what I'm saying? And so I get that, even though I would still enjoy that. But my mom, see, we make a good team. We make a really good team, my mom and I. And so she was like, no, we're gonna do like the local thing. And so wanted to stay in Airbnb, wanted to stay in a part of town that no one really spoke English. And so we were breaking out our Google Translate. And my mom, she, like I said, she was learning it, and so she was picking it up, and, based on the context, she could kind of piece together what people were saying. And so it all worked out in the end. It all came out in the wash. And so, like I was saying, a Japanese McDonald's, we had to go see what the Panamanian McDonald's was like, because, I mean, of course, you gotta just go see, like, we know that, McDonald's, they have different things, in different places to cater to the different countries and the different cultures. And so we were like, okay, like, is this any good? Because neither my mom and I go to McDonald's here in America. Like, literally, yuck. But over there, we were like, we gotta see what it's talking about. And y'all, okay, now this may not be what you thought this vlog was gonna be, but you have to go to the Panamanian McDonald's, okay? Like I said, this is my only time going to another country, so other countries might have, other better things, but when I tell you this blew my mind, got fried chicken at McDonald's. Fried bone-in chicken, like, huh? Got a McFlurry with strawberry cheesecake. The one that my mom had, she had like this, it had like cookie pieces in it. Not like a chocolate chip cookie, not like cookie dough, but it was like this like chocolate cookie. I guess I can put a picture of it. Like, had that in her McFlurry, and they have like different types of chicken nuggets there, and it's like, whoa, like this is blowing my mind. And so I'm not gonna tell you guys how many times we ate there, but I'm just gonna let you know that if you go to Panama, then you're probably gonna feel the same way that we were feeling, because it's like, wow, this might be worth the price of admission. Like, this might have been one of the best parts of the trip. I can't believe there's fried chicken at McDonald's.
I can't believe they're trying to see us out about fried chicken.
See, they don't know anything about black people.
I don't see what the point is, though. Is that just fun to do?
What, forget your food?
Yeah. Giggle about how many people's food you got?
So after our McField trip, my mom and I decided we wanted to do a little bit more shopping and see more local stores and whatnot. And so we went to this little, just kind of like corner store. And then we went to a big, like a Walmart type store, I would imagine. It's called Super 99. So we saw those everywhere. So I guess like that's their equivalent. And what we found in all the stores that we went to is that every store sells everything. Like in America, we have like Office Max, and we have Toys R Us, and we have like Bed Bath & Beyond, and we have, like Lowe's, and like all those different stores sell different things, and they don't just like sell everything. Like in Panama, it seemed like every store sold everything. Like you go to the corner store, you go to like a pharmacy, you go to like, their Walmart, it's like they have ceiling fans, paint, clothing, arts and crafts, baby supplies. It's like everything is in every store, and it's like, what in the world? I've never seen anything like that before. So that was a culture shock. That was an experience. And so that kind of wrapped up, I think it was our second day. So that was Thursday. And then Friday, we did a little walking tour. And so the walking tour was really nice. For one, of course, gotta get the steps in. Y'all thought I forgot about the steps? Oh no. Okay. So we got in a really good amount of steps. I think it was like probably like 3,500, 4,000 steps that we got in just on that walk alone. So that was great. But also it allowed us to see really slowly the different like architecture and like monuments that Panama has. I don't know the name of the city that we were in. It was like the downtown area. We just called it like the place with the guy on the horse. So, yeah, I forget the name, but we walked around and it was really nice because like the guide that we have, he was showing us like the different architecture of like the different balconies, because there were Airbnbs and apartments and I guess like hotels down there, and so they had different types of paneling and balconies and brickwork, and you could see just the different cultures that had been there. Like they said that there was French and Spanish and English, and so it was really fascinating. And so we went to museums and we went to different stores, and we also went to 3 Catholic cathedrals, okay? And so I gotta get this off my chest because I wasn't even gonna black out like I am right now, but I decided that I have to, because literally this morning, the day that I'm recording this now, which is just like 2 weeks prior, after 2 weeks post, I was going in my dad's room, and he was watching Fox News, and they were saying how Pope Leo, gave this special honor, sainthood to this, teenage boy who passed away, and he's called like the millennial saint, and how, he's really special, and they were highlighting him on the news. And ironically, we actually saw that same boy in Panama, because in one of the cathedrals that we went into, they had a wax figure of him laid out in like a coffin, and they had like his picture, and they said why he had been, given sainthood. And so I don't know if this was like a rerun on Fox or something, because like I said, the trip was 2 weeks ago from today, and so already they had the wax figure of the boy and whatnot, because he died in like 2006. And so they had that boy that was on the news today, and they also had a couple other people that, they had done wax figures of and laid them out and expressed like in these little, bios about, why they were in there. And then of course they had, Jesus, Mary, the apostles, humongous scare quotes around these people, okay? And so it was just like idols and figurines and statues and all this different stuff. And y'all, and when I tell you, like, it just made my blood boil seeing that and going in there. I've never been in a Catholic cathedral before. I don't call them churches because they're not churches, okay? Just, anyways. I'd never been in a cathedral before. And so I didn't want to go on one. But it was a part of the tour, and so I wasn't about to, one monkey not gonna stop the show, so I'm gonna just play along. But going in there and seeing that, and just knowing that people really think that that is Christianity. And it's so awful, and it's so horrible, and I hate it so much. And I know that God hates it, because he says it in his word, that he hates false religion, he hates every false way, and that, he hates liars, and the Catholic Church is a lie, okay? It is the church of Satan, is what it is. And so seeing that, and like, you see people that are in there, and they're like, praying, and they're like, just like people in our group, as well, people that were just like not in a group, they were just like sitting in the, just cathedrals, like looking around in awe. Like people in our group, they were walking around and they were like, wow, this is so incredible. Like, and our tour guide, he was like, yeah, you're on holy ground and all this stuff. And it's just like, please, like, y'all, please get a grip. I mean, this is not biblical. It's not godly. It's not any of that. It just reminds me just how little people know about Christianity and therefore about God, because they don't read their Bible. And so, yeah, I'm gonna let it rock. That's all I'm gonna say, because I could say a lot more, but it was just so infuriating, the fact that this is the picture that most people have of Christianity. I mean, over 1 billion Catholics, would love to see that and love to, go down there and bow down to some figurine of some kid or of some random dude that they think is Jesus. And it's just like, it couldn't be more wrong. It couldn't be more wicked. It couldn't be more evil. Friend, make no mistake. Okay, I said I'm gonna drop it, but I'm not. It's the Catholic Church is the great whore of Babylon. It is not Christianity. It is not now, nor has it ever been at any time, Christianity, the church that Jesus founded. None of that, okay? So if you like to just, go to cathedrals and look at it for, the architecture's sake or for historical sake, whatever. But it is a den of iniquity if there ever was one. And so just seeing that on the news this morning reminded me of that. It's just how much it's like, this is not of God. All right, rant over. Back to Panama. And so after I had my Baptist sensibilities assaulted and mangled, we did a little bit more shopping, and I got a really nice dress that I'm wearing in the next day. And he showed us this clock that had 13 numbers on it instead of 12, and so I thought that was really interesting. And showed us a couple more places and did a couple more stops, and then that was our tour of that little downtown area. And then we had dinner that night, and what I got, which I thought was very interesting, because once again, never been outside of America before, so all this is new. So I always feel like, because they say that America is a melting pot. So I feel like America is where you go to like get everything and experience everything. So like if you want Chinese food, you want Jamaican, Japanese, Korean, Greek, whatever, you can find that all in America. But in reality, and especially in 2025, you can find different cultures' food in a lot of places. And so when I was at this Panamanian restaurant and I saw that they had chow mein, I was like, whoa, pump the brakes, let me get that. And it was delicious. So it reminded me of back in Oklahoma, when my mom lived there. The first time when I went, she lived in a different part, and there was this Chinese restaurant that was in her area that was so good, and it was run by a Mexican guy. So it's like, yeah, I mean, the Spanish, they know what to do with, the Asian food. So yeah, that was really bomb. And that was Friday. And then Saturday comes, and we had our driver take us to a beach. And once again, my mom wanting to kind of play it cool, keep it low key. We didn't go to like a tourist beach. We went to a locals beach. And it was still really nice. It wasn't a lot of people. And she was the one that was mainly doing the talking to the driver. And so when she texted her that morning and said that we wanted to go to a beach, the driver said, okay, well, we got to go right now because it's high tide. And so my mom, she was like, well, maybe I misunderstood that. Maybe she means to say that we need to go before it gets high tide. But she read it right the first time, because apparently the beach, when high tide is there, it comes up to like a normal amount. And then when low tide is, it's like way out and there's like no beach at all. It's like all just wet sand. So thankfully we got there pretty early, but we stayed there all day. So we got there when it was high tide, and then we saw the tide go back out. And then by the time we left, it was coming back up again. And so it felt kind of like the opposite of how it is here in Virginia Beach, because it seems like in the morning it's low and then in the afternoon it's high. So we were talking about that, but it's like, is that actually the case, or are we mistaken? But that was what happened over there. And I think this was actually MJ's first time at a beach, if I'm not mistaken. Because I've taken him to a few pools and like splash pads, but I don't think I'd ever taken him to the beach. So yeah, MJ's first time at a beach was in Panama. I mean, literally, he is gonna be spoiled. I already knew that there was gonna be a high chance of him being spoiled because he is the first grandchild on Mario's side, and he is the only grandson on my side. But I mean, literally, your first beach is out of the country. It's like, wow, this man is born into clout. And so we ate at a couple different restaurants on the beach. We had lunch at one, and we just kind of sat there and moseyed for a good amount of time. And then at the second restaurant that we went to, I got tiramisu, which is like my new thing, because the restaurant that we went to the previous week with my mom's parishioners from her church, they took us to that Italian style restaurant, the family style Italian restaurant, and I got tiramisu for the first time there. And so I really liked it, and so I got it here in Panama, and it was really good. And so I feel like I'm a new tiramisu girl. That's another personality trait I've just adopted. So there's that as well. And that was pretty much Saturday. And then Sunday comes, and we actually meet up with my mom's friend. Okay, so the reason why we went to Panama overall is because her friend was going to see one of her friends. And so when my mom's friend told my mom that she was going, she was like, whoa, you're not about to go to Panama without me. Because apparently that's one place that my mom really wants to go, because she just had this grand idea of how awesome Panama was. And so, yeah, when her friend told her that she was going, she was like, oh, well, you're going to see me there. So we met up with that friend that day and her other friends that she had brought. And so we just had a really nice, girls' day out. And they had some parades that were going on, some festivities. I forget exactly what the occasion was. Not because it was Labor Day or Labor Day weekend. Okay, so that was not the case. Which I, once again, American, never been out the country. Oh, everybody celebrates Labor Day? No, they don't. But there just happened to be a parade going on. So it felt like it was Labor Day anyway. And so we went and we saw that. And we went to a really nice Jamaican restaurant. And I tried conch, which is like in the mussel clam family. And it was okay. I don't know if I'd ever order it again. But it was edible. And so we had that. And then after we left the restaurant, we watched some more of the parade, and we got some little trinkets and stuff that I'm going to show you guys at the very end. And then after that, we went back to the Airbnb and laid low because my mom, she was starting to run on fumes at this point, which I can understand because it was a lot going on each day. And so we just kind of packed it in for that day. We're at Monday, which was our last full day in Panama. And so since that was our last full day, we decided that, okay, now we actually have to go see the canal. Because we were actually thinking like, oh, going to go see the Panama Canal is like the #1 tourist thing that Americans do when they go to Panama. So it's like, oh, we're really going to do that? We're trying to stay away from like the traditional tourist experience. But literally everybody that we told that we were going to Panama, they were like, you got to go to the canal. When are you going to go to the canal? How was the canal? And it's like, oh my goodness. And then one of my mom's friends, he was like, oh, you're at Panama? Oh, you gotta go to the canal. Here's some money to go to the Panama Canal. And so it's like, oh, well, no, it's free. So we might as well go. So we saw the Panama Canal. And of course, like, that is their #1 thing. So everything is kind of like, that is like the focal point of everything. Like, it's on a lot of their architecture. It's like even the murals and stuff all over town have the canal on it. Different things like hint and allude to the canal. And so when you're at the canal, there's like different types of tours as well. Like there was a tour where you can actually like go through it, I think, like on a boat. I wanted to do that kind, but that's more expensive. And so the one that we had, we were just kind of like on this like deck area where you could like stand and see all the different, you know, things that are coming and the ships that are going by. And then they had like this movie that talks about the canal and how it was created and how significant it is, because I didn't really know how significant it was. I didn't realize that pretty much every country that does, you know, overseas, you know, transfer passes through the Panama Canal. That was news to me. And so it was really fascinating to learn that. And so there was this movie that we saw, which they made a big deal about, not just because, you know, it's about the Panama Canal and that's their number one thing, but because Morgan Freeman was the narrator. But I don't know, I forgot to mention this to my mom and ask her about this, but it didn't even sound like Morgan Freeman to me. Like, it sounded like somebody else, which was really throwing me off, because it's like, am I tripping? Like, this doesn't sound like Morgan Freeman. Like, what is going on? So I don't know if they got his brother to phone it in for him and just say this is me. I don't know what's going on, but that was something that was like a big highlight of the tour. It's like, oh, you get to watch this movie that's narrated by Morgan Freeman, and it's like, is it? Anyways, and so after the tour and the movie that we saw, the guide that we had, so it was like this whole thing. So I guess we paid for like this whole like tour of the canal, along with like different touristy things along the way and near it, because we had the same guy that took us to the canal. He took us to a few other stops, and so we went to like this mini mall, strip mall kind of thing, where it was like this big, you know, I guess like building and a bunch of different little stores inside of it. And I got another dress, and I found a shirt for MJ, because being that this was our last day there, I asked my mom, I was like, well, what kind of shirt did we get MJ? And she's like, I don't think we got him any shirt. And I said, oh man, I don't want to come back and not get him anything. And it's like, yeah, you know, babies, they grow so fast that, you know, he's gonna wear the shirt, outgrow it before he even remembers that he was there. But that's not the point, because that's what pictures and videos are for, okay? All right. So we got him a shirt, and I should have gone a size up, because literally about to bust out of the shirt the first time I put it on him. So that was besides the point. But yeah, so we got him a shirt, and I got some more little trinkets that I'll show. And then we went to another place where it was like this big courtyard, and the courtyard was actually designed with the same dimensions. Like, they had this like pillar, they had like these pillars and like this monument that were the dimensions of the Panama Canal, the original one, because it was actually renovated in 2016, where they made it bigger because shipment boats, shipment containers, they're much bigger now. And so it was the dimensions of the original one, so you can get kind of the idea of just how massive this place is. So that was interesting. And we also stopped at like this Asian monument place. I wasn't sure exactly what the significance of that was. You know, I think it was Chinese, and so I'm not really sure exactly how the Chinese played into a part with, you know, with the tour. But we went there. That was cute. There were some more stuff, you know, things there to see. But a part of it was broken. Like, I guess it had been weather beaten, and so we didn't get to like see a little part of it. But yeah, so that was another nice part of it. And there's actually this bridge that, it's called the America Bridge, is what the Panamanians call it, because technically speaking, you can actually drive to Panama. You don't have to fly there. You can take this bridge, you know, this long highway. I forget what number it is, like what highway it is, but yeah, you can drive there. So technically speaking, you could drive from like Alaska all the way down to Argentina. I think that's what the driver said. Like, that's as far as like North America goes continuously. And it's like, man, wouldn't that be the world's greatest road trip? So yeah, I thought that was really fascinating, and so I got a little clip of that bridge. And then we went to another mall, just did a little bit of moseying, nothing too crazy, because it's like, okay, well, this is the last day, so we already really got a lot of what we wanted, like when it came to like trinkets and stuff. But yeah, so we were walking around the mall, looking around there, where this was more like I guess like a higher end kind of area, because they literally had a yacht club. And I guess our tour, I forget exactly, because once again, muy poco español. And so I think what he was saying, I think he asked us, did we want like a tour of the yacht club, or did we want to like rent a yacht and like see the other yachts? And my mom, she was like, no, that's okay. And I'm like, man, that sounds really cool. But I could see them from the dock and just like how they were all over there. And then he took us to like this little, I guess peninsula little area, and where we saw more touristy things, like more kind of upscale restaurants. They had a pirate ship that was for rent if you want to have a party on a pirate ship, which I thought, how very Caribbean. Like, that is so cute. Someone needs to do that for Virginia Beach. And then our last stop of the day was at another restaurant. The driver, he recommended this place that he said was really good, and he was right because it was delicious and it was really, really pretty. It was just a really nice place. Like, you could tell that they probably get a lot of tourists there, because actually tourism is the #1 export of Panama, so everywhere gets a lot of tourists, I suppose. But that one, they had really done it up really nice, and it was very colorful and very inviting, and they had like the waiters and waitresses in like the traditional Panamanian garb, and so it made you feel like you were really at like a Panamanian spot, and it was really cute. And so I love that place. I think that was probably the best place to like take pictures and whatnot. And the food was also really, really good. It was called La Fonda, I believe. So yeah, if you're, I gotta think of the name of that the place that we took that walking tour. But yeah, if you're in Panama, you have to go to La Fonda because it was delicious and a lot of really good places to take pictures. And that was pretty much our trip. MJ, he was very sad to go. Just kidding. We were trying on that shirt that I was telling you about that was already too small, and he wasn't going for it, and he was sick of us. But that was pretty much our trip. The very last morning, we left Tuesday. We went back to that first breakfast place that we went to, and we got some more. And the stuff I got that day was not quite as good as the stuff I got originally, but it's like a rotating menu. And so I thought I was ordering steak, but in reality, I was ordering beef lung. So not exactly what I was ready to have at like 9:30 in the morning, but regardless, overall, the trip was amazing. It was so enriching. Like, when I thought about the trip overall, I was like, this, I feel enriched. I feel like I have unlocked a new version of myself. I feel like I've learned, and I'm now a citizen of the world. Like, I'm ready to go more overseas places. Like, a friend of mine, he asked me did I want to go to Japan because he travels for work, and you know, it was conflicting schedules because he was gone while I was in Panama, so I couldn't have gone on that trip as well. But it's like, man, I gotta go more places. And so, yes, friends, incredible time. So like I said, I was gonna show you guys the trinkets that we got. And so they had a lot of these flower clips that they were selling all over the place. I've seen these a few places online, so I don't know if these are like a new thing. I'm sure they're not new, but just they're really popular right now. So I got 3 little flower clips, and I just wear them like at the middle of my braid, and I just kind of like use it to like keep the braid in place and keep it in the middle of my head. Or like this little one I haven't worn yet, so I'd probably wear it at the end of my braid. But, or I have worn it. I worn it on the side like this. And so really, really cute. Very versatile. And my mom, she talked me into getting some earrings. I don't really wear earrings. I just wear these V's every single day. But she talked me into getting these, and I think they're really cute. They go really well with the purple dress that I got. That green dress that I got, you guys already saw, but I don't have any pictures of me in the purple dress, but yeah, so these are really nice. And then I had to get some keychains for my girls, my friends that I have not even seen yet. Well, one friend I saw, because she picked me up from the airport when I got in at like 12 in the morning. And I was like, girl, I need you to come get me. And she was like, oh, okay. She just happened to be awake, so it was great. So I got some little keychains. And then the last little thing that I got was a little license plate. It's, you know, it like fits a motorcycle or a bike or whatever. But the significance of this for me is the fact that, of course, like I've said before, Mario, he was a car guy. He was a mechanic. Not like officially, like that was his job when he, you know, when he passed. But that was what he did. That was what he enjoyed. And so I got this one because we met in October of 2020. And so it's, you know, this is what I would have brought back for him had he been available. So got this, and so it's just like a little little keepsake, you know, remembering of, you know, what I would have gotten him. And so, yes, friends, that is the trip. I appreciate you guys sitting and watching through all of this as I just go on and ramble about all the fun that I had. And I hope that your summer was even better than mine. And let me know if you've been to Panama or if you plan to go anytime, because I would love to hear about it and what you're planning or what you did. And so be sure to leave a like on the video, leave a comment, and I look forward to talking to you guys again very soon. Bye.